Hey guys, Brandon with United Commercial Insurance. Hope you're having a good day. Wanted to talk to you about additional insureds on your insurance policy, whether it's for trucking, transportation, or just contract or any type of commercial policy. Additional insureds are a very common request that we get. So let's go over the ins and outs of additional insured today. Okay, so an additional insured is essentially this: a person or a company or an entity who is added to your insurance policy that gets some of the rights and coverages on that policy. Okay, what does that mean? Oftentimes, brokers or shippers, if they give the load to you to ship, or if they are in contract with you to ship on their behalf, they can be brought in on a lawsuit or a claim. And instead of using their own insurance policy, they would like to use your insurance policy to cover some of the damages or the cost of defending the lawsuit from your insurance policy. Very common occurrence, very common coverage to request. What does that mean for you? Okay, so let's say you're signing up with a new broker and that broker comes and says, as part of this contract, you're required to add us as an additional insured to your policy. Should that be a worry for you? Should you be concerned? Answer is, it depends. Really, it's a very, very common contract stipulation. And for the most part, it's not a problem. It can cause an additional price or additional premium on your insurance policy. In fact, here's 3 insurance companies and how much they charge for a regular additional insured endorsement. Some companies charge up to $200. Some are free. Some say for the first 5 you have to pay, but after that, it's free. And so depending on the policy that you have, you could be charged $20 or $200 for every additional insured that you add to your policy. So make sure you remember that when you're looking to add brokers or when you're looking to enter into a contract with a shipper. If you see that additional insured portion on the contract, be aware that it could cause a premium increase. Most of the time, it's nothing. Typically, it's a one-time charge or it's not repetitive, but it is a part of the decision-making process for what you're looking to do when you're adding an additional insured. Okay, how does coverage work? Let's talk about that. So let's say you enter into a contract with a broker, additional insured is endorsed to your policy. You can do that with your insurance agent. You endorse that additional insured, they're covered, good to go. Well, oftentimes they're going to request a certificate of insurance proving that they're listed as an additional insured. The certificate is a little different than a normal certificate holder. They're going to have some check marks as additional insureds on the separate policies that they're listed. So that's a little bit different. Make sure if you're requesting a certificate of insurance, you know the difference between just a normal certificate holder and additional, if that certificate holder is an additional insured. That's really important. Number 2, let's say you're hauling that load now, you're off on the road, you get into an accident, it's your fault. The claimant or the person that was injured will look at all of the parties involved in that claim. So you, the carrier, and then where did you get that load from? Was it a company? Was it a brokerage? How did you get onto that load and why were you on the road? And so they'll bring in every single company that they can to be a part of this claim, this event that occurred. So let's say the broker gives you a load, you cause the accident. They look and say ABC carrier was contracted by XYZ brokerage. They're going to be included on the claim. They're going to be included on the lawsuit. XYZ as your additional insured will look for coverage under your insurance policy and not go to their insurance policy first. So your insurance policy will provide some lawsuit protection, some coverage protection to XYZ if there's any negligence or if there's any culpability or liability on their end. That way it stops them from having their insurance policy get involved in every single claim or accident that occurs with the shipments that they are sending out. That's a common theme. Sometimes it's not a big deal. Sometimes it is a big deal. A lot of these are contract wording based. So it's very important what's written on the contract, how broad those additional insured coverages are. Sometimes the contracts overstep the coverages that are allotted to an additional insured, making or requesting what they call primary insurance. Primary insurance meaning they're going to look to your policy to cover everything to infinity and beyond. That usually doesn't work. There's some exclusions for additional insureds that they try to work and the wording around to get around those things. But a traditional additional insured will have some rights, some of the same rights as your primary coverage on your insurance policy. In addition to that, if a claim occurs, oftentimes the insurance carrier, your insurance carrier, will require the contract for them to review in that claim. So if you're signing a contract with a broker or a shipper, good to have that on file because they're going to require that contract. If it's just a handshake agreement, it may not give them the additional insured protection that they're looking for. If it's just a nod and a check and a, hey, we got it, it may not offer the protection that they're looking for, or it may be denied on a claim. So make sure the contracts that you're signing are held in some safe location on your computers, on your files somewhere, that they're accessible for when the claim comes through. You can provide that contract that gives the wording, the exact wording, because the attorneys on both sides are really going to dig into that contract and make sure that they're getting the most out of your insurance policy that they can. So in conclude, or just to sum it all up, additional insureds are a common thing. You shouldn't be afraid of them, but you should be wary of the different contracts that you're entering into and what stipulations that they're asking for on the additional insured. You should know how much it costs to add an additional insured endorsement to your policy. A few of our customers get confused and say, is every certificate holder going to cost me $20? And we'll say, just the ones that want you to add them as an additional insured. I would say if it's a broker that you're working with quite a bit, go for it, right? If you don't know if you're going to get any loads and the cost is $200 or more, maybe take a step back and try to identify other brokerages that could provide you more loads, more consistent loads, and less requirements on your insurance. If you can control that aspect, that may help you in the long run. There's another thing that we didn't cover called blanket additional insured. That's essentially where you have so many companies that are looking to be added as an additional insured that the insurance company will say, okay, we're just going to do a blanket additional insured. Any company that you have a contract with, a written contract with, they will have the rights of the additional insured. That could cost $75 or more. So check with your insurance agent on your cost for a blanket additional insured. Sometimes those save a lot of time if you're submitting requests every week for an additional insured. If you're cutting those contracts and wanting to take them off, a blanket additional insured is really helpful because that kind of saves an extra couple steps when you're adding these contracts from a brokerage or a shipper. That's another area that we can get into. Give us a call if you want a quote. If you've ever gotten a quote for insurance, trucking, or otherwise, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about your company and what we could do for you. United Commercial Insurance, our website's right here. You can get a quote usually within a couple days. We've been around for a long time and love to work with people in the trucking industry. So thanks, guys. See you later. The liability that you have. Brandon, United Commercial Insurance, coming to you.